Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on the Flash movie. And for today's video, I'll be going over a theory video in regards to the other Barry Allen we saw in the trailer and how he could potentially end up being the main villain for this film. So yeah, a couple of days ago we had DC FanDome, and for me, DC FanDome was very disappointing. Although it had some high highs such as the Black Adam teaser, obviously the Flash movie teaser trailer, but the highlight for DC FanDome, the Batman trailer, it had some really low lows as well, and most of it was a lot of filler and very uninteresting. But yeah, one of the cool things we had in regards to the Flash movie was a teaser trailer where we got to see some really cool stuff such as the new suit for the Flash, our first look at Michael Keaton's Batman as well as Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and probably the most interesting of all, we had two versions of Barry Allen, one of which is going to be the Barry Allen we will be following with as our main lead, and the other Barry Allen is supposedly going to be a Barry Allen from Michael Keaton's Earth, or it could also be a Barry from an alternate timeline where he could potentially end up becoming someone else and could actually end up being the main villain for this film, which is what I will be theorizing about during this video. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more videos about the Flash movie coming your way. Okay, so the premise for this movie, as we know, is Flashpoint, and this involves Barry Allen going back in time to save his mother from the hands of the Reverse Flash, and in doing so, he creates an alternate timeline with his mother being alive. However, things are changed for the worse, and eventually Barry realizes how badly he screwed up, which eventually results him into restoring the timeline back to how it used to be. However, things still weren't the same as they previously were. Now, this movie will have a different take on Flashpoint. As we saw from the trailer, we have two versions of Barry Allen, and the reason to this is because the movie is tied to the multiverse, not just one timeline like it is in the comics. So although this movie is Flashpoint, Andy Muschietti's take on the film is slightly different to the original canon version of the Flashpoint paradox. So in this trailer, we do obviously see Barry travel back in time to the night where Nora Allen was murdered, and we could obviously assume that he saves her because Flashpoint does get created during this film, and obviously we do see Nora Allen in this trailer. And from this shot over here in the trailer, we do see Barry go back to present day, and he enters the Allen household and he sees his mother alive. So in this new timeline, there's a plethora of changes. Firstly, Reverse Flash never ends up killing Nora Allen, and instead Barry ends up growing up with his mother. Now in this movie, Barry saving his mother causes a ripple effect on the multiverse. One where a lot of things are different, such as Ben Affleck's Batman being gone, and in return, Michael Keaton's Batman ends up being the main Batman. We do also see a lot of differences, such as the Wayne Manor being different, and we know that the Wayne Manor has shifted to Michael Keaton's version of Wayne Manor instead of Ben Affleck's one. Now, Ben Affleck is in this movie, reprising his role as Batman. However, we do not know what type of a role he'll be having in this film. I'm guessing it's only going to be for pre-Flashpoint scenes, but I could be wrong about that. But another change we have is that Supergirl is now part of the DCEU, and essentially her storyline is going to be similar to how it was for Superman in the comics during Flashpoint, where her pod will land on a government facility, which results her into being experimented on and kept away from the sun, and that results her from basically becoming as strong as she used to be if she was exposed to the sun. And during the trailer, we do also see Barry entering that government facility area, and we do know that Michael Keaton's Batman will be with Barry during the scene as well. And presumably they save Supergirl, or there's just going to be like a breakout where Supergirl breaks out and then the Flash and Batman head over there and they see Supergirl. It could be one of those, but from this shot over here in the trailer, we do see Barry looking at what we could assume to be Sasha Calle's Supergirl in this government facility area. Now, one massive change that it seems like they're doing is that it doesn't look like we will be seeing Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, as the main villain for this movie. In fact, it doesn't even look like the Reverse Flash kills Nora Allen in this film, but rather something else happens which results to Nora Allen dying. Maybe some random mugger kills her or something like that. But it doesn't look like Eobard Thawne will be the one killing Nora Allen, which I would find pretty disappointing if they don't do that. I don't really like that idea if they go with that. I would very much rather prefer Eobard being the one responsible for the murder of Nora Allen. However, for this film, it seems like the main villain of this movie will be the long-haired Barry Allen, or the alternate Barry Allen, or the multiverse Barry Allen, whatever you want to call him. And that's obviously the Barry Allen who we see spray painting the Batman suit to look like a Flash version of the suit. So after Barry creates Flashpoint, obviously this is going to cause a lot of things to change, including Barry ending up growing with his mother. And this is a multiverse movie, meaning there are now 2 Barry Allens and 1 Nora Allen living in the same world. So essentially, the long-haired Barry is a Barry from the Flashpoint timeline who has lived a life with his mother being present, and he becomes the Flash in some way, shape, or form, presumably the exact same way the other Barry becomes the Flash. But then our Barry, who is essentially the pre-Flashpoint Barry, however, he causes the multiverse into going into chaos, which results to these 2 versions of Barry Allen being in the same place. Now, throughout the film, Barry will eventually realize how badly he screwed up, but the alternate Barry will probably try and talk him out of it. This is where the theory comes in, how this long-haired Barry could end up being the main villain. So Barry will realize how badly he screwed up, which will result to this alternate version of Barry Allen trying to talk him out of it, because he doesn't want his mother to end up dying after he finds out what the original Barry ended up doing in order to create this whole Flashpoint. But then eventually, Barry will be sure that what he did was wrong, and this is going to be near the film where he's about to restore the timeline back to how it was, but then the other Flash will not let that happen because he doesn't want Flashpoint to be restored. He wants his mother to be alive, not dead. So the twist will be that he will end up being the main villain for this movie, and this will actually set up this other Barry into becoming the DCEU's version of the Reverse Flash, or just a Savitar version of Barry Allen in general. And there's also another thing which hints to this, and that's just the awful lot of yellow he's wearing to essentially foreshadow that setup. Obviously I could be overthinking it, but it's a cool Easter egg if they did do that on purpose. Now personally, I wouldn't really know how to feel about this. I'm one of the people that would love to see Eobard as his own character becoming the Reverse Flash, mainly because that is the version I'm used to seeing and the version I grew up with, and also the Reverse Flash is my favorite villain of all time, so it would suck to not see Eobard as part of this Flashpoint thing, or even just being responsible for the murder of Nora Allen in general. So I would rather them do Eobard as the Reverse Flash than have another version of Barry becoming the Reverse Flash. I would very much rather have this alternate Barry become like the Savitar type thing like we saw on the CW's Flash during season 3, where another version of Barry ends up being the main villain, but Reverse Flash is a separate character. And they could still end up making this work, and it could be really cool, where maybe Barry doesn't know how his mother ended up dying. Maybe that's like a mystery that will be revealed towards the end, which then reveals that there was another speedster during the night of the murder, and thus setting up Eobard aka the Reverse Flash, for the sequel of this film, during like a post-credit scene, or during just like the ending scene of the film where we do actually see Eobard. That would be really, really cool, and I think it would be a great way to work to set up the Reverse Flash for the sequel of this movie. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about this theory. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.